Hi, I'm Tom and I talk about code. Today we are going to be working on primarily improving Lua logging and then going in and cleaning up a few other things, primarily around how we work with Lua, especially in our main.c file. It's getting very long, it's getting very hard to work with. There are a few things that we need to split out and just handle a bit better. So it's not going to be the most exciting stuff today, but it's important things that are going to lead to real quality of life improvements for everyone who uses this code, myself and anyone else. So first, let's quickly just go over to a nice little live view of the Melbourne skyline. This is the time of day. This is where I am right now. This isn't like my apartment or anything. This is from the city, but just for people who are wondering what it's like in Melbourne here. Cool. So, we've got a plan, okay? All good things start with a plan. We're going to do Lua logging. We need to learn about Lua Debug info. I don't know much about it, okay? We're going to go in, we're going to hit Google, we're going to look at some things I looked at last stream, look at the structs, look at how we request the info, and then we're going to remove every instance of print, okay? They're going to be gone. We're going to put in new logging functions instead. So I've got this skeleton for what this will look like from the seaside. If we jump across, I think I might have done this. Might have done this here. I can't remember. Oh no, it was in Draw 2D, wasn't it? Draw 2D. So if I go in, print, got rid of it, right? Every instance before this was like a print foo. I want to replace them with calls to some log module that does not exist yet. So I'm going to create this module. I'm going to add these functions for different log levels. It's going to call into one central function. So let's do this structure first, okay? So if I look at log.h, the existing log stuff, the log stuff that we call from C, it all hinges on this one central log message macro. We print a message that's a conglomerate of a few things. We have this this level, which is like our info error debug, which tells us, you know, just kind of this prefix to put on it so that when we review the logs, we know what log level the message belongs to. Then it has this file and line. So it tells us which line the log message comes from and which file it comes from, but in C. So if we were to just naively call, for example, our info macro from Lua, it would tell us that we were in loglua.c, and the line from loglua.c we called it in, right? So we need something that looks like this, something that tastes like this, something that ideally logs in the same format, but instead of pulling out the C file and the C line, we want to get where in the Lua state. We want to ask the Lua state for some debug information and work from there, right? So, you know, similar but different, the same but different. So we could do this. We could create another macro, right? Like log message, we could call it Lua log message or something. And we could define these functions that we bind into our Lua state, and we could just make them call this macro. I'm going to use an inline function instead, because the scope of this, I guess, is a little bit more limited. Like if you look at these macros, we can call these macros from anywhere. This is only going to be called from these five Lua log functions. And a macro is just a little bit messier. Like you've got to do this, wrap everything in a do while so that you don't, just to keep everything nice and tidy. So making this an inline function means that we kind of get the function part for free. And we can just go in and say like, you know, log trace, we'll say Lua log message. I'm still having trouble with my E key annoyingly. Hopefully that's not too much of a problem here. We're going to give it a level, which is going to be, for example, log level trace. I already hate this. What is my E key doing? And then we give it the bit that goes at the start, right? So like trace. And this function will assemble these things into a nice message, right? So what's this going to look like? Well, it's going to be very similar to what we have in the existing log message. We're going to check if level. We want to check if the current log level. So log output level is greater than or equal to the level that we're logging to. This is not indented enough. There we go. Then we want to print something to the screen. So we printf. We have this bit that comes first. We do, again, like same format, right? File, line, and then the actual message. And then a new line, because you've got to remember your new lines. So then we have the pre. Then we're going to have some like Lua, file, Lua, line, and then the actual message itself, which let's call it Lua message, right? Because these are three things that we need to extract from the Lua state. Two of these are debug information, like kind of new debug things, and one of them is going to be the message itself. Now, actually, this isn't quite right still, okay? I guess I've kind of straddled a line here, right? Oh, no, I haven't. We're good. We are good. This means that I can't call arbitrary log levels from Lua, but I think that's okay. I think I'm happy to make Lua a bit more fixed in this way. Because in practice, I'm not actually going to use different log levels from C anyway. I'm going to stick to how I define things in this macro. But the debate in my mind just then was really about, do we have this level as something we pass into the function, or do we have this level as, do we pass it in from the Lua side, or do we pass it in from the C side, right? Do we have to get this as a function argument in Lua, or does this only exist in C world? And for now, this is only going to exist in C world. So the three things we're left with doing, right? Working out how to extract the file and line, and then getting the first argument. Well, we know how to get the first argument. We've done this before. So we can say Lua, what do I want to say? Lua to string, we get argument number 1. And I think that seems right. Okay, so if we go back to draw 2D, what we were doing before, draw 2D, log trace. Yeah, so the message is going to be the first and only argument. I love it. So we get the first argument, we put it in a string. Let's grab this into a variable called Lua message. Lua message. Cool. Now Lua file and Lua line, okay? Lua. There's a structure called Lua Debug. Called Lua Debug if my E key wants to work. And if we find in programming in Lua, perfect. So yeah, debug library does not give you a debugger for Lua, which is interesting. This is exactly what we want. The main introspective function, debug.getInfo function. Okay. Main function on site. So this is the Lua API for this. This is the Lua API. But it works the same way. Okay, hold on. This works the same way in C. It's just a little bit different. So where is the... not code. I want the API reference. Here we go. Get info. So this is the function that was just being documented before, right? Get info. But now we're in C world rather than Lua world. And C world really does sound like a fun place where you can go like hang out with dolphins and stuff. C world. In functions and hooks, interface allows for the construction of different kinds of debuggers, profilers, and other tools. Cool. So most of this is going to be irrelevant to us because we're not doing this. Maybe we should at some point. Maybe we should find someone's out-of-the-box debugger to pull in. That would probably be useful. Because at the moment, if we have a Lua syntax error, our PlayStation 2 program just hard crashes, which really isn't good. But anyway, Lua debug. So I think name. What are all these things? Name. A reasonable name for the given function. Cool. So yeah, we'll grab a name. Name may be set to null. Oh wait, no. Do we want a function name? Let's not go a function name. Let's just go. Name what? Name of field. Let's go for source. I'm guessing that's the source file. Source name chunk that. The name of the chunk that created the function. If source object means function defined in a file where the file name follows. Okay. Yeah, this is what we want then. Short source. Source. But where's that defined? Name what source? Am I crazy or is oh no, there it is, sorry. Short source. There it is. Lua ID. And that has a fixed size as well, which is cool. Line defined. Line defined. So we want current line and we want short source. Beautiful. And we have to give a few special pieces of information to this get info function. Const char what. So we want to say, so we get source from S and we get current line from L. So we want SL. Lua get info SL. To get into a function, you push it to the stack. Okay, F. How do we get the current how do we get the current state? Information is function. Okay, so wow, this E key is going to be the death of me. Welcome to everyone coming in. Thank you for stopping by. Let's see, for Lua. So we just don't give this thing, right? I guess that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Get info. Does it give you the thing on top of the stack? I'm going to function push it to the stack. No, so this means you get the thing on top of the stack, right? But we want to try doing that without the stack stuff. So let's just try this and see what happens. Lua Debug. We'll call it AR because that seems to be the done thing. And let's go Lua get info. Anyway, we need to get the stack. So just get the current. Okay, we'll do it your way. Lua get stack L 1, and we somehow relate this with AR, and then we say Lua get info L N L no S L again into this Lua debug, and now Lua file is actually going to be AR.short source, and Lua line is going to be AR.current line. Cool, and I think that's it. I literally think that is it. Except it's capital S, not a lowercase s. Cool. And then we just need to fill this out here. So, like we're doing before, log level debug. I think I have a log level debug defined. I do. Good. Debug. This E key is going to be the death of me. I was really hoping I wouldn't have to buy a new keyboard. I was trying to hold out until I was able to build one, but it looks like I might just have to bite the bullet and buy a new keyboard. Cool. Let's do some copy paste. Speed this up a little. Beautiful. So log level. Again, I'm pretty sure I have a log level 1, right? I do. Good. And log level. And log level error, I think, belongs to 0. Yeah. So like, errors always get logged, basically. Beautiful. And it is that simple. Except these also have to return 0 because they leave nothing on the stack. That's actually very important with your Lua bindings, right? Your Lua functions have to return the number of things they leave on the stack. If this returns some random garbage value from memory, it's going to be really bad. It's going to be really sad. It's going to make me really mad. So, Lua log init. I think that's what we've called this. Lua state. So this takes our Lua state. This defines everything that we want. So, should I pull in one of my macros from somewhere else? Where's a good example? Lua. Have I just done this? No, yeah. So I've. Push function. Yeah, because so Lua create. Man, again, just basing this off of what I've already done. We make a table. We give it no array slots. We give it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We give it 10 slots for named fields. It will create more if needed, but this is just a useful hint. And then, yeah, so we just do the old classic. Lua, push, C function, L. And then we give it the name of a C function, Lua, log, trace. Actually, let's work up. Let's start with error. Then Lua, set field, L. So this goes onto the top of the stack. The table we've just created is at the L place -2 on the stack. And then we give it a name, error. And then we do this a few times. So we do it for warn, we do it for info, we do it for debug, and we do it for trace. So let's go S, error, warn. Error info, error debug, and error trace. Cool. Nice bit of find and replace there. Nice bit of Vim magic. Love it. Love to see it. And now we just need to create a couple of special constants as well for what these actual log levels are, because again, at the moment, I think I've shown this before. We have these magic numbers for our log levels, right? This doesn't fly. This is no good. This is no good, right? We want to be able to say here instead, log level, log dot level. Actually, this isn't quite as, because so say we want to set the log level to trace, right? Log.trace is a function. Log.level trace, I guess. Trace level, which unfortunately contains a lot of E's. I guess that's okay. Trace level. Are we happy with that name? Does that name kind of work? Let's go with that name. Lua push integer, push number. Push integer L. We're going to push the magic number log level. Again, we're going to start with error. Lua set field L -2. I really should have written this all out at once, and I could have done a better find and replace. But anyway, so we have this for error, we have this for warn, we have this for info, we have this for debug, we have this for trace, then we do the same find and replaces as before. Except now we need, can we do a case in, we can't really, can we? We can't really do a case insensitive find and replace because the thing we're replacing it with needs to be either uppercase or lowercase. So warn, let's do this the dumb manual way. Warn, info, debug. There might be a smart way to do it, but I think by the time I've worked it out, it's not going to be worthwhile. But here, this does actually make it kind of convenient. Beautiful. And then we just do that other thing, right? So what was the Lua file I had? Lua set global, that's it. Right, so bind the thing on top of the stack to a global name. And then we just return 0, because there's nothing left on top of the stack. Cool, so this creates everything we need for logging, right? This is it. This is all it takes. This is all it takes. This is all it takes. I'm guessing this will have some kind of error when I try to compile it, but maybe not. We need stdio.h for at printf, and then we need log.h for our logging constants, and that's it, I think. Oh, and Lua headers. Lua headers. What Lua headers should we grab? I mean, this doesn't even grab Lua headers, which is... Oh no, yeah, Lua.h. Let's just try it with just Lua.h. Maybe the debug headers are going to come from somewhere else. Does this give an example? This doesn't tell us what headers to include. So let's try it with just Lua.h and see what happens. We'll go... Not that makefile. The source makefile. We want to get... Cool. I need to start Docker. Docker.service. Excuse me. Cool. So what happens if I build this right now? What's going to happen? A couple of things are going to cry. A couple of things are going to yell at me. Undefined reference to Lua log messag. I do that a few times because I copy and pasted. I love it. No return statement in function. Log line 14, no return statement. This is okay. It actually should be a void. Especially because of how I'm using this inline. It should be fine. Okay, so that builds. We did have a dumb error. I'm correct. Okay, you always have a dumb error. But yeah, this turned out to not be as hard as I thought. So I guess we just need to call this and then test it. Now get ready for something really gross, because where is it? Where do I do it? Have I? Oh, that's right. It's in script.h now, isn't it? And log lua init. I may as well have all of these defined in one place. I think I've got to make clean and make rebuild, or at the very least, sure, let's write that. Let's see what happens. Are you happy? Looks like it. Make run. What's gonna happen? Program died due to fatal error. Attempted to index a nil value log, because while I did include that in the header, I didn't actually do anything with it. So when we do our initialization, right? So draw Lua init, yeah, all this stuff. Let's start with PS2 Lua prog init. Where does this come from? Yeah, cool. So we can do this anywhere in here. Anywhere before we call, where is it? Anywhere before we call our init script. So yeah, so literally anywhere here. So let's do it at the end. Log Lua init L. I don't know if I actually, hold on, script log Lua init, and then if I go to log Lua, what did I call this function? Yeah, the wrong thing. Log Lua init. Okay. That's not right. Make docker elf. Don't know why I did it like that. I have a hotkey set up to run this. So, that looks promising. That looks very promising. So, a lot of stuff getting logged here. Okay. A lot of stuff getting logged here. Running Lua file. Okay, it looks like okay, so this actually looks correct. Weirdly enough, this appears to have worked the first time. So here's a log message that comes from main. Here's a log message that comes from some C file. Here's a log message that comes from Lua, right? So if I go to this file, so this name is ridiculous, okay? I don't know what to do about this, but if we go to draw2d Lua line 230, look at that. This is where the log trace comes from. So this is actually extremely useful. We haven't had this in the past. In the past, we've been 100% dependent on other weird stuff, and just like knowing where our log messages come from and believing in them. So apart from the fact that this name is ridiculous, like comically long name, okay? Comically long name. And I guess part of it is this weird, like, why does it have to do this? This is what I'm not sure about, but, and maybe there isn't actually a way around this, because as far as Lua is concerned, this is the file name, right? The way the host file system in PCSX2 works is this. If we were to run this on a real PS2, I think we would get a better file name, but I guess not, right? I guess we would actually get the entire path as well, because we're likely to be loading files relative to like a host device or a mass storage device like a USB, right? So maybe we need to do some more processing of this line. Maybe we need to work out where, like, I mean, for one thing, right? We could actually kind of just take a substring from the last file separator and just give us the actual name of the file. That might make sense. That might not be ideal, and maybe it's like a compiler flag or something, right? Maybe it's something we define. Now taking a substring in C, this is always fun. So we want the last index of. Now this actually sounds familiar. This sounds like a problem I've already solved, because I think last index of, yeah. I don't think this is a function worth putting somewhere, right? Like, this is such a dumb utility. I'm just going to mash it here and see if it does what I need, and then later we can come in and work out where this goes. One of my goals for the stream today is to come in and clean up main.c, and this kind of thing is on the chopping block, right? This kind of utility, but for now, let's do the dumbest thing possible. Let's just copy and paste this block of code. Let's make it static. Let's make it inline, okay? Really dumb, but we're going to loop over a string, we're going to find the last index of a certain character, and then we're going to return the index of that character. So for example, let's go int last sep equals, and this is going to be last index of ar.short source. We need the string length. The string length we know though, because is this actually the string length? Sure, let's go with this. Some magic constant, and then we're looking for the character path separator, right? These are using backslashes. Hold on, let's double check this. These are using front slashes. Let's calm down here with our weird Windows conventions, okay? Cool, so we've got the last index of this, and now the string we want to print is just a string plus this index, right? Because if a string is in memory, okay? If a string is in memory, you've got like right, and this is like our 0 character. So if you've got these characters in memory, and our string s represents this string, right? It points to the first index of this string. If we go s plus 4, that's just going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to be, wait, 1, 2, 3, yeah. So that's going to be basically like, we're just referencing a substring of this. It's the same array in memory, it's the same thing, but we're only looking at it starting from here. So this is kind of like taking a substring in a really cheap, shitty way. So we can build this unused variable last sep, because my bloody E key isn't working. Don't you love it? Let's see what happens here. Open this. If we look at a log, draw2d.lua, there it is. So we probably want to add 1 to this again, or maybe not. Maybe not. But the important thing is, right, we now actually see where our Lua logs come from. Now, not all of them. We need to go through and find all of our prints in Lua files, and we can do that with a really cool grep. But for now, we're getting much better results. Now, one thing I do need to check, I need to say if, so let's go const char file name equals ar.short source plus 1. Okay, if last sep, so if our last separator, if there are no separators in the file name, then the file name is just ar.short source. And then rather than having this in the actual thing, so we need to check for the failure case, right? Otherwise we are just going to blow the string up, because if we try and add -1 to this, actually we would add -1 then +1, so it would do nothing. Ooh, that's interesting, right? If this fails, then this is -1, and then we add 1 to it, so it's like we do nothing at all. So actually the failure case is just kind of built in like as part of the algorithm. It's like an arithmetic failure case. There's no if, it's a branchless failure case. That's very cool. That's very cool. Let's check it out. This looks good. Now let's, this is all pretty noisy, okay? So if I look at our example over in clut.lua, this is pretty noisy. So let's go in, let's go log info level. Let's just dial these logs right way back, okay? And here we go. We get stuff at startup. We no longer get the logs from draw2d. That just doesn't happen, right? That's cool. That's really cool. So let's go in and let's make some of this VRAM stuff debug level logs, okay? I don't want them to be trace. I want them to be a little bit more accessible than trace, but they are definitely not things that need to be seen all the time. So let's go into VRAM Lua. Let's find all of our prints, okay? So first off, VRAM buffer overflow. This is pretty important. This is a log.error, okay? Now, this is good. Let's go log.debug. Let's go log.debug. And this is also VRAM size. This is actually a log.trace, okay? We don't want to see the VRAM size calculation every time we do it unless we're doing the most granular logging possible. Absolutely not, absolutely not. So then we have this print that was commented out. So what was this? This was telling me every VRAM allocation I did. And this was just way too noisy for the logs, right? So let's put it in a trace. See, already this is going to pay dividends. Let's go into our CLUT, our example for drawing color palettes. Let's go debug level. Let's run this and let's see what happens. We no longer have to stop this the second it runs because we're no longer spamming the trace level logging for every single thing we do. VRAM.lua, VRAM frame buffer. There it is, debug level log. So we can now see where this stuff comes from. We're missing a character which is throwing off our alignment. And I think this @ symbol is fairly dubious in usefulness overall. Like, do we need this? Do we care about this? Maybe not. Maybe this is actually a sign that we need to get rid of it in C. So here we go. We're changing C. We don't do this very often. Make clean. Okay, so let's go. Build it. We run it. And then we can have a look. And look at this. This lines up perfectly. This is just really cool. I'm happy to see this logging stuff, being a kind of first-class citizen. Unfortunately, it isn't all. Some of this Lua stuff does still seem to cool. I don't know where this comes from. I don't know if we can override how this works. Like, maybe we can hook into whatever function this is calling before it gets called. Like, maybe we change print. Maybe we hook print to just be a log info, right? We can do that. We can do that. It'd be interesting to see where this comes from. I think this is not a today problem because it doesn't happen that much. But I would be interested to see what is actually being printed here. But yeah, so like, for example, in our init, we can go ps2 init. We could say, and it wouldn't quite be this simple, but we could say print equals function p, or function m, I guess, for message, log.info m end. Now, print in Lua does actually take multiple arguments and then format them in a specific way, so we'd have to do a little bit more work than this, but we could do this, right? We could override the default way print works, and so every time we print something, it just goes to our log system, right? That would be good. Also, I mentioned this in my review in my last stream, and I didn't fix it. That's annoying. Let's put a to-do on this. We won't talk about that right now. So now I just need to find, let's go, I can never remember the order arguments go in for ripgrep. Option pattern path. Okay, that's actually not hard. So I want to find print in my scripts folder. And I don't want to put that there. Nice. So I actually don't have that many prints in my Lua code, right? We can go through, we don't need this to be in like we don't need this to be accessible from Vim. Or I guess we can, right? So we could go, I'm not even going to bother Vim grepping it. So min clut texture stress gif. So we'll go min and gif, and then the rest are just examples. So min.lua. Well, this is actually also an example, but and this isn't a function we even use anymore. This isn't even an example that still makes sense to have. gif.lua. This has a few prints, okay? This has a few prints. And this is stuff that we commented out because it was too noisy. So let's go log trace. This is perfect, okay? This is going to make this so much easier to debug. So much easier to debug. Packed UV. Let's not print that. That's a little bit too far. Okay, even for this, that's a little bit too far. So if we go to texture, a texture example, print. I don't know what we do with this, but sure, let's log in for it instead. If we go to another example, let's go to our rect example. It's not there. Oh yeah, stress cares about it. Cool. And then that'll be it. That'll be it. That's an info. That's the kind of thing we want to see in info. Cool. If anyone does have any questions about this stuff, feel free to ask. I'm happy to answer people's questions about code, about PlayStation 2s, about homebrew, about weird stuff, about myself. Yeah, do feel free to jump in with a question at any time, because otherwise I will just keep talking. This is a known fact. Known fact about me. Cool. So I guess we also want to find, if I go to texture, I think, log level, yeah, so let's go log.info level. We don't need lots of logging for this example at the moment, right? Cool. That's looking really good. That's looking really good. We shouldn't have done this all in one big commit. That's a bit gross, but it was so simple that I don't think it matters too much. Add Lua logging, remove print. And yeah, just the ability to see where these log messages are coming from, it's going to be so powerful for people. And I love how simple Lua makes all this stuff. Love how simple it is. Cool. So, this is a fun bug. We'll need to get back to this one day. Lua logging API in progress. It's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. Let's open a PR for it. Resolves, not number, wait, GH, this is GH34, isn't it, not 24. Where's my tab gone? Yeah, oops, 34. I want to get a standard pull request format, right? So I want to be able to say Lua API, I want to be able to have standard subheadings so that I can pass this later. So I want to be able to say like API additions, or maybe new APIs. And then I'll say like log.info, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I like the idea that I could have like a standardized format that I could pass later and generate automatic change notes about which APIs I've touched in a given release, for example. But I do really want to start being a lot more thorough with this stuff. So let's just like imagine what this might look like. Log.info. Yeah, let's try this. Let's try this. Log a message. Sure. Log a message with my priority. I don't know. This is too much to decide right now. But let's at least enumerate them. This will be something. Log.info, log.deep. Let's do them in some semblance of an order as well. Log.warn. Log.error. And then it also has all of these, but with info on the with level on the end, right? So new. That's good. Yeah, new APIs works. this probably is just about all we need. There is one other thing we need to do, and that is in log Lua, where we have trace, okay? We need to actually check this, because one of the things about trace is it can be pretty noisy, and if we want to, like, we want to have a lot of trace logging potentially so that we can see what's going on, but we don't want to do this if for every single trace log, right? That actually might add up. So we have this this compile time check, right? So if def log trace, then we do this. Otherwise, this is just otherwise this just returns 0. It does nothing, right? And so this means that, yeah, we can at compile time decide if we want our trace logging to be present or not. And that doesn't mean it'll always log everything. This just means, do we even check to see if we care about trace logging, right? This may be a premature optimization, but I do get a little bit scared, and we are in a fairly performance constrained environment, so I just want to make sure that we have this option and that it's always easy to turn it off. So let's just add this compiled. Wait, hold on. I didn't add the file. That's insanity. Well, that was almost a disaster. This is the wrong password. Again, I really need to set this up so that it doesn't, I don't have to type that in every time. Okay. Where did the motivation to develop a PlayStation 2 engine come from? Excellent question. Excellent question. I grew up with the PlayStation 2. On my 7th birthday, I unboxed a PlayStation 2. Not this one, but much like this one, okay? Much like this one. And it was a very exciting day. There's video of me on my 7th birthday sitting down, playing a PlayStation 2, you know, just like losing my mind with excitement. I think I'm playing like Kingdom Hearts. And it's just an awesome console. I've got a lot of love for the PlayStation 2. You know, I currently own 2 PlayStation 2s. I think that collection will be growing hopefully quite soon. Yeah, like they're just an awesome console. I love a lot of the games for it. I've been wanting to build something for it, you know, ever since I was a kid. And for me, part of the reason I got into computer science and programming at all is because I was excited about building games, and I really wanted to understand how games like, you know, Jak and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank worked. It's always been a big part of my life, and so it's just cool to finally build something that actually runs on the console that kind of, in a lot of ways, sparked my interest in computers. Refraction PCSX2, welcome. Yeah, it's been ages. Happy New Year. Hope you're doing well. I haven't streamed so much this year, or in the last, 2 weeks, because I had COVID, so I had to take a little break to recover. But I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. And I hope that wasn't too much of a tangent there. I have been meaning to pull that PlayStation 2 out to make a point for a while. It unfortunately doesn't really work. I think, sorry, just to go back to like the PlayStation 2 podcast for a second. I bought this on eBay for like $20. It's got a broken disc tray, sorry, if I can learn how to point. But I thought, well, I'm going to run FreeMcBoot. I'm going to run games over the network. I've got a network adapter in it, which I don't know if this works yet. Okay, anyway, well, I'll show that off another day. But I've had this PlayStation 2 open. I've been looking inside of it, and I think one of the fuses in the board that drives the controllers and the memory cards is broken, right? So I get no memory card input, I get no controller input. I'm gonna grab a hard drive hopefully soon so I can test this hard drive adapter, get free HD boot on it and see if that runs, because if it does, then that will mean that the PlayStation 2 works and I just need to replace this dumb fuse, which may be prohibitively expensive and complicated. I don't really know how I would do it, but yeah, hopefully this PS2 is salvageable. Could be a fuse where resistor has died. Yeah, apparently there are a few weird fuses in these PlayStation 2s that tend to die. But again, worst case scenario, it was just a like $30 eBay buy. So I can always replace it with another, but it would be good to get that one working. It'd be good. It's a 39K, like a good revision, a good year for the PlayStation 2, a fine vintage. Gnarly Dev, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the PlayStation 2 family. All right, so let's grab Let's grab this pull request up. Let's have a look. Now that we've actually added the file we kind of like made this pull request for, let's see how this looks. Yeah, that's fine. We'll do that here. Did we... Oh, hold on. Git merge. Some weird stuff going on here. Alright, so we've diverged from... We've diverged a little. That's scary. Hopefully this merge goes cleanly, and it does. That's good. Oh. Oh. Hold on. How did this happen? How did this happen? Oh, because we... Oh, no. Oh, no. This is a disaster. Okay. Okay. We've got conflicts. We've got conflicts. Script. Only in our scripts. And main. Let's look at what's going on in main first. What conflicts? Merge conflict in... Oh, no, sorry. Auto-merging that. Merge conflict here. So, script. Let's have a look at what's happened here. Size of... Oh, this is just because lines that I added as prints, I have now changed to log debug. So this was just my bad. I shouldn't have let this happen. Silly git mistake. Silly git mistake. So where are we? VRAM. Main.lua. That checks out. Nice. Where are we? Let's go down. Script. Draw2d.lua. Again, this is just going to be in this one. So I know exactly where this line's going to be. It's going to be here. Oh. That's okay. You didn't miss much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, sorry. You didn't miss much. You just missed a really dumb git merge conflict. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I think that should be everything here. Oh no, one more. Cool. That'll be it. And then, so this is just everywhere we changed logging stuff, right? E.g. And everywhere, yeah. Everything that changed in that last PR that also changed. Log. Cool. E.g. texture. And was that it? Texture, color, draw2d, main, PS2 init. Yep, cool, so. Does it? Do we really need to give it a... Oh no, there we go. Sorry, we don't give it a message. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, we're resolved. We're resolved. We're nice. We're back in a nice happy state. Okay. We've updated prints to logs. Just gonna look through and make sure there aren't any like weird conflict markers left. This all looks wonderful. This is good. Clean up some random crap. Get rid of slow 2D by default. That's definitely not what we want. PS2 init. I missed one. Cool. But that should be it. Log that. Yep. Add the new thing to the thing. Add a white space at the end of this line. That's not good. It's fine. Change our logging format. Add an entirely new file. Does this pass lint? That's the other thing that I didn't check. Does this pass lint? Of course it doesn't. Nothing passes lint first time. That's not a true commit message, but it's okay. I lied because there was an extra thing in there, but we will survive. So that should now pass that linter. Everything should be good. You can see my face again, critically. You can see the code again, sorry, critically, and my face. Cool. Yeah, cool. So this just does whatever formatting stuff it needs to do. We'll clean this up at a later time. This is all looking wonderful. This is all looking wonderful. And it's amazing, right? Like, look at how simple these changes are, and yet it still takes about 40 minutes to go through, to do the pull request, to look at the code. Like, if I wanted to just rush through this, I could definitely do it quicker, but to talk about it, to think about it, to do it thoroughly, to do it properly, it really does take quite a lot of time. So let's do some quick stuff to clean up main. Let's do some quick stuff to clean up main, and I'm probably going to call it for the day. Let's look at our to-do list here, though, okay? Debug info, we worked it out. Removal prints, we did it. Lua logging, done. Tidy, main.c. Okay, and we actually have a branch for this, an issue for this, sorry. Check out B. Cool. So, Lua logging API, you're done. Clean up main.c, you're in. GH32, clean up main. Okay, so let's look at the dumpster fire that is main.c. 340 lines of just pure insanity. Thank you, Refraction. You're too kind to me. You're too kind to me. Okay, so this has to be here, right? This, you can't get around it. This is the meat of the function, but this is only just over 100 lines. So that's great, right? This is only just over 100 lines. So what else do we have in here? Run file. Run file probably doesn't need to be part of main. It's only used in main, so I guess it's okay. But it conceptually, except it does do this benchmarking stuff as well. So this benchmarking stuff and no screen print. Well, like this, yep, screen printing, whatever. Okay, so I guess this does have to be in main. On frame, that lives here. But we can clean up these unneeded comments that were useful when we were starting to understand Lua, but less useful now. Nice. We actually deal with Lua errors now, which is also very good. We weren't doing this for a while. Cool. But yeah, again, for people who haven't seen it, I have these wonderful benchmark functions that tell me how long the actual startup for all my different parts takes, which is great. Lua, PS2 Lua prog. Again, this probably doesn't need to be here. This doesn't need to be here. The PS2 Lua prog stuff can move, so that's what? 30 lines. Not a huge win, but it's something. This is a disaster. This has to stay, maybe? No, this doesn't have to stay. I forgot I had this. I don't actually think this gets used, right? PS2 Lua SCR printf. Oh no, we have this debug print. Yeah. Do we use this? PS2 init. Does this ever get called? DBG print. It does. It gets called once. It gets called once. I guess that's okay. I guess that's okay. It's good to print this stuff to the screen. It's good to have the option of printing more to the screen. But this could go fatal. I guess that's okay. And then just an infinite loop, which is kind of dumb, but it will be okay. Definition of base path. I guess our bench start and bench info could go in different places, right? Continuous clock time now. Time now. Name. Time now could be, where do I define this? Time now. This doesn't need to be statically defined, right? I could actually define this here, right? Would anything go bad if I did that? No, that would still work. That would still work beautifully. Because even though this is a gross macro, right? Because we wrap it in this do while, we don't have to worry about this variable leaking out of scope. So we can do that. We can clean that up. We can clean that up. Core error, I guess, can stay here. Print buffer does not need to be here, right? So what I'm feeling in my soul right now, and maybe this is bad, but what I'm feeling in my soul is that we could create a file, and I hate this, right? But we could create a file called utils.c. Okay, every project kind of eventually ends up with a utils.c. It's for code that doesn't justify its own compilation unit, but it's still pretty useful stuff, right? Core error, it needs to be defined somewhere. It really doesn't need to be defined in main. Also, core error isn't used anywhere. Where does core error get used? I think it gets called from log.h, right? No? Core error. Okay, hold on. Who calls core error? Draw.h defines this error macro. Ugh, this is... what? Line 17. What is this? But is this macro ever used? Source draw. Yes. But why do we do this with this weird function here? Why is this defined in draw? This is messy. This is messy, see? This is messy. Error, invalid. Why don't we just log error and... why don't we do literally anything else here? I mean, this is quite good, right? Like, I like the idea that we can call a function which ends main. And I guess if is running is static, like it's part of main, then we really do need it to be here. Huh. So, okay, this isn't utils.c material, in conclusion. But it needs to go somewhere else in this file, because this is just gross. Let's put it up. Let's put it up here, I guess. But Fatal and Core Error do very similar things. Fatal kills the program immediately. Core Error just says we're probably about to die, but maybe not. But yeah, like the fact that we have these two things, yeah, this is a bad taste to me. I don't think we ever call Fatal, right? I don't think we ever call Fatal. We call Fatal in a few places, but always in main.c. And I guess that makes sense, because if we're going to fall over somewhere, it makes sense that in main.c, before anything else is started up, we just want to die, and we want to die hard. So bench start, bench info, right? This can go somewhere else. This can go somewhere else. This can live literally anywhere. This can live literally anywhere. So let's put it... let's make bench.h. Let's do it. Let's give it its own... I mean, it's a pretty important utility, right? Benchmark something. Include clock... include time.h? I then we can get rid of time.h from here. Ooh, that's a good little win. And then we need just a header guard on it. So if and def... I can't remember how I've header guarded other things. Just the simplest possible name. Bench h and if. Cool. Okay, so bench, main.c, thank you very much. Bench, cool. Now we get rid of, now we just include bench.h. Cool. This default log stuff, I guess, makes sense to live in main. This file path stuff, yeah, I guess this is how it goes. We can keep that here. Fatal really does give me a bit of a bad taste in my mouth, but I guess that's okay as well. Last index of. Now, this is utils material, okay? This is something that is kind of good, kind of useful. Utils. And this also needs like a comment. Like utils things really do need comments so that their scope is clearly understood. Print as trace level log. There, that's not a very good comment, but we'll survive. Okay. So core error. So once we get rid of this PS2 Lua stuff, I think it's going to be a lot simpler. And also, what are these things doing here? Okay, that's not where these live. These live in script.h. And also, Lua TGA init, some of these things have this underscore, some of these things don't. And TGA, oh boy, he's going off spec, right? This should be TGA Lua init according to the pre-established standard. So that needs to change, but not right now. We're gonna need PS2 Lua prog.c, right? We're gonna call it PS2 Lua prog.c. That makes sense to me. PS2 Lua prog.c, and then we grab all the things for this, okay? All the things for this. All the things for this except for SCR printf, which becomes a global function, which probably shouldn't be a global function, right? Or maybe it is. No, it's a global function because we undefine it shortly after it's defined. Okay, this is good, this is good. PS2 prog. On start. Now, PS2 Lua prog. Yeah, okay. These things really don't belong together, but it's okay. This is just a wrapper over calling the function that we've bound to PS2 prog frame. That's good, that's good. So run file. This is great. This can live here. And so we've brought this file down over 120 lines. And we've moved some things that conceptually did not belong to make it a bit simpler to understand. Now this is still a pretty hefty bulk of code, right? Between run file and main, there's a lot of stuff going on. But we'll be okay. We'll be okay. We have to do a lot of magic to understand different possible file formats that the PlayStation 2 can throw at us depending on where we're running our code from. That's okay. That's okay. That is workable. We log the default log level. That's good. Log the log level. Mwah. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. This is fine. This is good. Open libs. Yep. Yep. This all looks good. This all looks good. I like it. One thing that's awkward about this as well is that this assumes that a drawer is submitted every frame. If we don't submit a drawer, then this never does its thing. So maybe we need a flag, okay? Let's to do this. Let's to do draw 2D flag to know if draw was submitted, right? So in a frame, we could actually just not submit a draw and our program won't hang. That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty useful. Because we could, if we get, for example, into a bad state building our GIF tags, we can just not submit that buffer, and our program can keep running. And then we could maybe even pause execution of Lua and poke the state of the program if we had some kind of like cool debugger. I don't know. There are options for that, right? And this Lua Debug struct that we learned about today, that may be the gateway to all of this. So I like this idea, right? This has always had a bit of a dirty taste to me. We're not going to fix it today, but we're going to move towards a world where we fix it. You know, just writing down how we could fix it or that we need to think about fixing it, that is a good first step. Okay, so utils.c. This needs to go in hand with utils.h. We're going to call this PS2 utils because utils feels like a pretty standard name, and we don't want it to conflict with other potentially defined macros. So keyword T means that we need to include an awkward header that I think is called tam types. Or where is it? Lua, math string, debug kernel. Where does this come from? We can actually find the definition, right? So if I go, let's get a big terminal up. We want to jump to keyword T. Where is this defined? This is defined in tamtypes.h. That's all we need to include. That's all we need to include. If we jump across to utils.c, this is actually also all we need to include. Include stdio.h, include utils.h. Love it. We go back to main, we include utils.h, I think this will work. I think this will be fine. We go into there. The other place we need to change it is in log Lua. We want to get rid of this as an inline function, and we want to include utils.h. We duplicated that function for simplicity a minute ago. Now we no longer need it. Okay, so we've got some errors. Oh boy, we've got some errors. Why do we have errors? That was too much error for me to parse. Undefined reference to last index of. Undefined reference to proof. Okay, we forgot about PS2 Lua prog. We left that in a bit of an unloved state. Last index of. Why do we not find? Oh, hold on. We include utils, right? We include utils, but we don't actually compile utils.c. So let's go. Oh, this is getting long as well. So actually, what I think we probably need to do, right? We need to go main obj equals main.o utils.o. We need to go Lua, the Lua stuff. So this is like gs Lua.o, dma Lua.o, buffer Lua.o. tga.o I guess counts as that, pad Lua. And then we need draw obj. So we're just going to split these things out into more manageable lists, because at the moment they're a bit crazy. Draw to d.o. Cool. And then we can come into here and we can just say main obj, Lua obj, draw obj. Cool. All these things come together. All these things nicely come together. Utils.o. And so then we also need ps2 Lua prog.o. Nice. So this stuff needs to be exported in some kind of header. What else do we need here? Log output level info. We need log.h. What else do we need? Is this just Lua stuff? I think it is. We need bench.h. But other than that, we're going to be good. We're going to be good. So let's go. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, so what happens if I build now? Couple of janky things. Implicit declaration of function ps2 Lua prog init. Because I still don't include that, do I? Main.c. And I still haven't actually created this header. Cool, so E. Cool, so we need to define this stuff, give it somewhere to come from. We need start nil, frame nil. So these are just default functions for what we do if we actually, don't define a program to run, which is great. Didn't mean for all those new lines to appear. Wonderful, wonderful. Where are we going? Set log level. All these wonderful utilities that we use semi-regularly. Let's do a little prog init. Yeah, and then on frame and on frame and on start are kind of weird, but it's okay. Again, we could probably generalize these, right? We could probably generalize these into a function that that takes a state and takes like the name of a function to run. these are very, very similar functions. I think I split them out mostly for like logging purposes and debugging purposes, but oh, and because we benchmark the startup, but we don't benchmark the frame. Yes, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. We probably want the option to benchmark the frame, but again, that is a fairly important difference. It's going to make them hard to make them, you know, just like nicely compatible. So actually, these don't need to be exported, but these, no, the log level doesn't either. Just these three. Just these three. And we need to include lua.h here because they use the Lua thing in the thing. Implicit declaration of function info. But this is a much more manageable error, and that's because in utils.c we did not include log.h. And in ps2 luaprog we need to, in ps2 luaprog, in ps, I can explain why this happens. It's very annoying. Here we need to include math.h. I might implement my own log too, so I don't have to pull in the whole math library just for this one function, because I imagine a lot of the math I'm doing isn't really going to like use this stuff. Yeah, cool. So we're back to this running and working, and we've simplified main quite a lot. We've made some good changes here. Cool, so let's add the new stuff. Add bench.h, git add source ps2 luaprog.c, source ps2 luaprog.h. What else is here? What else is here? Nothing that we care about. So simplify main.c. Cool, so we're going to push this, and that is going to be all that I really have the energy for today. We're gonna smash some more interesting stuff soon. I'm getting towards the end of Draw 2D. We're gonna move into some exciting stuff for Draw 3D. If you look at my backlog here, right, clean up main, load more texture sizes is a bit of a no-go. Mid-frame texture uploads needs a little bit of work. This, I think I've actually resolved. I need to check into more. This isn't important. And then we're getting into Draw 3D stuff. There are gonna be more cleanup tasks for Draw 2D in the future. I think there might be some issues that aren't actually in here yet. Yeah, like wasteful text 2 set. But on the whole, we're getting close to getting back into 3D, and 3D is going to be where stuff gets really exciting again. And hopefully these streams pick up in energy a little bit more, and people get excited. Lua error handling is still an open question. I probably need to make an issue for it because it's going to be hard to do well, but we will see where we get with this. So if you're tuning in on YouTube, thank you very much for watching the show, and I will be sure to catch you next time. And you'll be sure to catch me next time. Something like that. Bye.